produkto ng ating pong gobyerno sa pamagitan po ng PTV. Kaya pag-usapan ho natin ang problemang ayaw namin ho magpakalalim. Pero batido nating lahat, tayo ho mga kababayan, na nasusugatan ho ang ating pong bayang Pilipinas.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ako naman po si Princess Habiba Saripoldak. Well, in my case, Alex, hindi ko lang po nakikita ang problema. Damang-dama ko pa rin ang nangyayari sa aking minamahal na Marawi City dahil hanggang ngayon po ay naiipit ang aking pamilya at mga kamag-anak doon.
Yes, we know that, Princess. Alam natin, ang ating rin po mga kababayan dyan po sa Marawi City ay talaga hong naiipit. Pero, alam mo, Princess, patuloy kami pong nananalangin pa rin po para sa kaligtasan po ng ating pong lahat ng mga kababayan na kailangan po nating ipagtanggol po ang ating pong republika.
At syempre, kung ang pag-uusapan ay kapayapaan, the ball is in our hands.
Yan po ang ating pag-uusapan ngayong gabi. We need to prevent violent extremism. Kaya po sa ating mga viewers ngayon, huwag niyo pong kalimutang gamitin ang ating official hashtag. Hashtag DefendRepublic. Ako po si Diane Querer.
Correct, Dayan. Kailangan mong samahan ang ating mga viewers yan sa tabi nyo para sama-sama tayo makagawa ho ng solusyon sa kinakaharap po nating hamon ngayong araw na ito.
At yan naman talaga ang pinaka-importante. Marami tayong kasama ngayong gabi mula sa iba't ibang sektor. Kaya sasamahan ko sila dito. Samahan mo naman dyan, Alex, si Princess.
Okay, thank you, Dayan. At syempre, bago ho natin simulan ang ating pong talakayan dito, syempre papakilala ho natin, sasamahan po tayo ng kinatawan ho ng Armed Forces of the Philippines sa ating pong programa. Narito po si Major General Melquiades Feliciano. Siya po ay kasulukuyang Deputy Chief of Staff for Civil Military Operations o CMO, J7 ho ng AFP o Sandatang Lakas po ng Pilipinas. Graduate po siya ng PMA Class 1985. May master's degree po si Major General ng Public Administration sa Philippine Christian College. Nakatanggap rin po siya ng iba't ibang parangal. Ito po si General Feliciano mula ho sa military at civilian sector. Magkakausap po tayo dito. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Alex.
Alam mo, Alex, isa rin po kasi ako sa mga Muslim. Pero itong mapapanood natin, nagbibigay rin ito ng pangamba maging sa amin. Narito po, panoorin natin.
The story of Islamic State of Iraq and Syria is based on religion, and they use religion to impose their political will. In 1989, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, a Jordanian, was trained in Afghanistan to become a mujahideen. Mujahideen is a holy warrior. In 1999, Zarqawi was recruited by Osama bin Laden to join Al-Qaeda. When bin Laden and his Taliban troops lost in 2001 to U.S. troops, Zarqawi hid in Iraq. But the U.S. also invaded Iraq in 2003, and Zarqawi founded the Islamic State, Jamaat al-Tawhid wal-Jihad, the party of monotheism and jihad. Zarqawi targeted the Shiite population in Iraq because the Shiites were behind the force who ousted Saddam Hussein. From there, Zarqawi became the spiritual leader of Sunni, where he implemented the Sharia law, and part of it was to behead the enemies. In 2006, U.S. forces killed Zarqawi in Baghdad, Iraq. Zarqawi's group continued to fight. In 2011, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi regrouped the disgruntled sons of Iraq and called the group Islamic State of Iraq. IC trained the former soldiers of Saddam Hussein as suicide bombers, and they created a base in Syria to fight Shiite military, then recreated their name into Islamic State of Iraq in Syria, or ISIS. ISIS continued their crusade in fighting Christians and Kurds, where they behead their victims. ISIS has spread their wings in some Southeast Asian countries, and on February 1, 2014, the Philippine military confirmed that they discovered a black flag in a BIFF camp, a sign that ISIS is trying to penetrate our land. We must keep the ISIS from further radicalizing our country. We must defend the Republic.
Alex, mamaya bibigyan linaw tayo ni Major General Feliciano tungkol sa ISIS. Pero ugatin muna natin ang pag-usbong ng Abu Sayyaf. Narito, panoorin natin.
In 1991, Muslim fundamentalists have been alarmed as parts of the Quran has been translated and changed. a local leader from Israel, based its changes in the European war during the 17th century, where the myth of religious violence transpired. Egypt and Saudi Arabia protested and failed against reviving this belief in the religious violence among Muslims. Why did they revive this old-fashioned practice? To change the perspective of the young current Muslims in the world. The perpetrators organized a narco-terrorist army that aims to bring about a state where mankind will no longer have wills of their own. Illegal drugs were used for mass mind control and are always part of irregular low-intensity warfare against all the free people in a free society. Abu Sayyaf is part of a group founded under the organized narco-terrorist armies. Their locations of violence are in southern Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, and Indonesia. The first leader of Abu Sayyaf is Abdurrajak Janjalani, a Philippine Muslim who fought in the International Islamist Brigade in Afghanistan during the Soviet occupation. He wasn't a former MNLF member because the name Abu Sayyaf seems to be an abbreviation of the names of his first comrades in the organization. A for Abu Bakar, B for Barisi, U for Osman, S for Sampanit, A for Ali Unos, A for Abdurrahak, and F for Faisal. In Arabic language, Abu Sayyaf means owner of the sword. The front activities of Abu Sayyaf are stealing money, guns, kidnapping for ransom, bombarding civilians, beheading their hostages, and raping women. The increase in extreme violence attacks was in response to the challenge posted by Abu Bakr Baghdadi to the Abu Sayyaf. Kill Christians, pillage the cities, sow mass fear and terror so they can be recognized as part of the extremist. They believed that a tiny core of activists could topple any government through the use of terror alone. Many young Muslims in Mindanao joined because Janjalani led them to the thought that they were founded to defend their brothers abused by landlords. The Abu Sayyaf allegedly also wanted to defend the Muslim community against their military opponents and undisciplined politicians. But in reality, they are patterned from Islamic terrorist groups. They maintain the conflict between Muslims and Christians to prevail irregular low-intensity warfare in the Philippines and other sovereign nations. Because of this, we have to defend our republic.
Okay, kita mo naman, Princess, sa video pa lang ho, lubos na ho natin nakilala ito pong Abu Sayyaf. Ako'y isa pong reporter, anchor. Sa tanang buhay ko, lagi ko nababanggit itong Abu Sayyaf nito. Yes. Pero hanggang ngayon po, hindi pa rin po ito na nasusukol ng ating gobyerno. Pero malapit na rin yan. Ito po, kumikita ba ho ang Abu Sayyaf sa kidnap for ransom? Pero yun ba ang kanila pong layunin? Kaya sila ho nabuo? O religion-based ba rin ba ito gaya ho ng ISIS? Kaya tawagin na ho natin si Major General Feliciano para pag-usapan po natin ano bang relasyon ng Abu Sayyaf at ng ISIS. Major General, go ahead, sir.
Alex and Princess, good evening. Good evening also to the televiewers of PTB4. Let me start with the relationship of the ISIS to the Abu Sayyaf. As regards to the ISIS, actually, after their successful occupation of the different areas in Iraq, particularly Mosul and other areas in Syria, Aleppo and Raqqa, they consider themselves as Islamic Caliphate, meaning to say they are a theological empire. So with their success, they were able to gain allegiance from the different terror groups or Islamic organizations worldwide. And one of these is the Abu Sayyaf group. And also, they were able to institutionalize the slavery, rape, and they have established terror. And also, they could construct terroristic acts outside Syria and Iraq. And also, they were able to inspire what they call yung lone wolf na tinatawag nila. And it's an attack from their sympathizers as far as the areas of Canada, particularly Ottawa and Sydney. So this means that even in highly developed countries, non-Muslim countries, they can recruit members and do the attacks. So that's how their influence is being portrayed. And also, how did the ISIS became so powerful? Actually, many of their weaponry came from the Iraqi army after the pull out of the U.S. troops. And when the Iraqi army were left behind by the U.S. troops, they were considered as weak, but they were highly equipped. So, and they were not prepared to face the ISIS. So many of their weaponry were recovered by the ISIS and used in their terroristic activities. And also, as regards to their funding, they engage in racketeering and extortion. So many individuals and businesses paid for their safety. And also in areas they have control, they implemented taxation and they have exploited some of the resources in the area and use this as to finance their operations and other terroristic activities. Also they engage because Iraq and Syria are rich in oil resources, so they engage also in selling oil in the black market in the adjacent countries like Turkey. And also, with their rise into power, they were able to influence actually 35 organizations worldwide, from the Philippines, Indonesia, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Egypt, Sudan, Libya, Lebanon, Tunisia, Algeria, Mali, and Nigeria. So this now explains why there are foreign terrorists in the country. And with that, also, they have also a grand plan. The ISIS had this grand plan of having an extremist expansion in the Southeast Asia, and it is called the triangulate plan, which involves the Philippines, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. As you can see, within the triangle and in the vicinity of the triangle, there are terrorist groups that pledge allegiance to the ISIS. Actually, the first who pledged allegiance to the ISIS is the group of Boko Haram in Algeria. It was in sometime August 2014, and followed through was where the terror groups from India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan towards the end of 2014 up to 2015. And also the former Al-Qaeda organization, which is the Jama'ah Islamiyah in Southeast Asia, also pledged allegiance to the ISIS sometime 2015. So makikita natin dito, yung former organization ng Al-Qaeda, actually yung Abu Sayyaf, it started with Al-Qaeda organization. No, it is just sometime 2015 na nag-pledge na sila doon sa ISIS. Okay. So, as far as the ISIS expansion in the Philippines, currently, with the shrinking of the territory and the battle space of the ISIS in Iraq and Syria, they are now on the process of decentralization. So many of the foreign fighters are coming back or are going to other areas. And of course, the Philippines, particularly Mindanao, was seen to be a hub in Southeast Asia for terroristic activities because of the presence of the foreign terrorist groups, particularly the Abu Sayyaf group, the BIFF, the Maute group, and the Ansar Khalifa in the Philippines. So another indication on the expansion of the ISIS in the Philippines, Isnilon Hapilon was declared by Abu Bakr Baghdadi as the Amir in Southeast Asia. This means that Isnilon Hapilon is the leader of the Islamic country in the Southeast Asia. The reason why Isnilon Hapilon was or went to Lanao because at that time when Isnilon Hapilon went to Lanao, there was unrelenting military operations in the Abu Sayyaf area, particularly in Sulu. And in fact, it's ongoing up to now, Basilan and Tawi-Tawi. So Isnilon Hapilon saw Lanao as an area that he could establish a caliphate in that area, and with the presence of the Maute group and the other organizations in the area. Now, as far as the Maute group is concerned, actually the Maute clan has 3 groups. The first group is the religious group, which is composed of the Maute brothers.
Yeah.
Actually, the Maute brothers, Abdullah and Omar, are Philippine scholars. The government sent these 2 siblings to the Middle East, and they have finished their courses in jurisprudence, and it was there where they were radicalized. The father, who is an highly officer of the MILF, and is part of the religious organization. The other one is the group which is involved in legal businesses in the area, and the other one in the illegal activities like illegal drugs. So the Maute group saw illegal drugs are a potential means of getting resources. So they have involved themselves in the illegal drugs, like the manufacturing of shabu, and they were able to establish alliance also with the local chief executives in the area through this illegal or underground economy or illegal activities. The reason why they have influence over some of the politicians in the area, kasi kung walang alliance yung some of the politicians, I don't think they can do what they did now in Lanao, na hindi makakarating sa authority yung presence ng mga hundreds of local terrorist group in the area.
Okay.
No?
So, Major General, mukhang napaka-concise at malinaw ang relasyon po ng Abu Sayyaf at ng ISIS. Thank you so much po, Major General Feliciano, for that. Kung ang ISIS po ay may sinusundan pong tradisyon at ang Abu Sayyaf po ay lumilihis naman po sa tradisyon, ano naman po ang sinimulain po itong Maute group na ito? Panurin po natin.
In October 4, 2016, Davao City bombing occurred and 3 men linked to the Maute group were arrested. In May 23, 2017, Marawi is in a total chaos as the Maute group set their attack. Former Abu Sayyaf leader Isnilon Hapilon led the attacks. The attack resulted in the destruction of homes, livelihood, and death. Who is this Maute group? How did the Maute group come to be? Not more than 2 years ago, the Maute group first emerged terror in the town of Butig in Lanao del Sur. It was the time the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria in the Middle East started to hit the news. They want to establish Khilafah, or Islamic State, in the Southeast Asian region. First, they attempted to create Khilafah based in Malaysia, but it was thwarted. They also tried to establish another base in Indonesia, but failed again, until they targeted the Philippines. The Maute group was founded by siblings Omar and Abdullah Maute, who originally named as Daula Islamiyah and eventually became known as the Maute terror group. Omar and Abdullah are descendants of a big Maranao warrior clan in Butig. Butig is the headquarters of the Maute group, which is a stronghold of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, and both groups are tied by blood or marriage. Brothers Omar and Abdullah Maute are first cousins of Aziza Romato, the wife of the late MILF Vice Chairman for Military Affairs, Alim Abdul Aziz Mimbantas. The Maute brothers themselves were once members of the MILF and were former contract workers in the Middle East, who both studied Islamic theology in secular schools in Syria and in the United Arab Emirates in between works. It was told that they were affiliated with Jama'a Islamiyah. Some reports indicate that the Maute group carries the black flags bearing the insignia of the ISIS. Training manuals and other documents for militants under the Islamic State were recovered in their camp and indicate that the group is trying to link up with ISIS. The Maute group is said to be actively recruiting minors for service as child warriors and uses the non-passage of the Bangsamoro Basic Law as propaganda. It all started wherein the beneficiaries were indoctrinated into the extremist views of Quran. Now they started sowing fear. The violence in Marawi resulted in the declaration of martial law across Mindanao.
And by law, I had to declare martial law in the Mindanao group of violence for a period that exceeding 60 days.
Nga kanina hoy, nabanggit ko na dapat ho ipagdarasal po natin sina Princess at syempre kanya po mga kamag-anak po dyan po sa Marawi at maging po mga kababayan po natin dyan. Pero para sa akin po, makakabawi naman po talaga po ang Marawi. Panurin po natin to.
Marawi is one of the most conservative Islam communities and is known to be the center of Muslim culture of the Philippines. People in the city are resource-oriented and agriculture is their main livelihood. It is formally known as Dansalan, which means a place for destination, because of its beauty and rich tradition, rolling hills and valleys, and a very large placid lake. But in the midst of its peaceful living, Marawi was invaded and attacked by the Maute group. The attack resulted in destruction of homes, a mosque and a hospital, death of soldiers, policemen and civilians. It was with one blast that turned the bright Marawi into gray. The calmness became fear and the light became dark. Despite the storm, Marawi still stands with high spirits. But Marawi cannot do it alone. Marawi needs us, Filipinos. Marawi's faith will not be ruined because of the Maute group. Because Allah will never fail Marawi people.
Magbabalik pa po kami, huwag kayong lulubay.
We must defend the Republic.
President Rodrigo Duterte is in Russia for an official visit. He declared martial law in Mindanao on May 23. A series of attacks from terrorists and extremists occurred in the island. The areas of Basilan, Sulu and Tawi-Tawi are included in the declaration. To find out the situation in Mindanao, the president has cut short his visit in Russia.
That as of 10 p.m. Manila time, he has already declared martial law for the entire island of Mindanao.
After martial law has been declared, within 48 hours, the president needs to submit a report in Congress, either personal or written. It is stated in our Constitution that martial law and the suspension of writ of habeas corpus is effective only within 60 days. The extension is up to the Congress decision. Martial law can be negated by the majority of votes in Congress. The Supreme Court can also question and decide on the declaration of martial law within 30 days. President Duterte's declaration of martial law in Mindanao aims to protect the residents who are being ruthlessly killed by local terrorists. The proclamation of martial law in Mindanao also aims to eliminate the fear of the Filipinos that the chaos in Mindanao is spreading throughout the country.
As night falls, we light up your way with news that can guide you the next day. Catherine Vital, Richmond Cruz, and Charmaine Espina point you in the right direction on PTV News, Mondays to Fridays, 9:15 p.m. Only here on the Philippines Newsroom, PTV.
Welcome back. Ituloy po natin ang pagtalakay. Tama yun, Alex, no? Yung sinasabi nating we all need everyone para po sa muling pagbangon ng Marawi City. Ang pagsukli po ng mga mamamayan ng pakikiisa sa serbisyong binibigay naman ng mga alagad ng batas ay katumbas ng matibay na ugnayan ng lahat. Yan po ang paksa ng Department of Interior on Local Government. Ang officer in charge ng DILG na si Catalino Coy ay nagsimulang magsilbi sa Duterte administration noong July 2016 bilang Undersecretary for Peace and Order ng DILG. Hawak niya ang OIC at Undersecretary positions ngayon in concurrent capacity. Ngunit bago pa man pumasok sa DILG, matagal na po ang kanyang serbisyong inilalaan para sa bayan bilang retired police director ng PNP. Nagsilbi rin siyang PNP Director para sa Personnel and Records Management, sa Human Resource and Doctrine Development at maging sa Special Action Force o SAF. Si Yusek Coy ay graduate as First Captain or Class Baron ng Philippine Military Academy Class 1981. Ang galing at katapatan niya sa serbisyo ay una nang nasukat ng Pangulo noon Davao City Police Chief pa lamang siya sa ilalim ni dating Mayor Rodrigo Duterte. Acting Secretary Coy to give us some explanations naman regarding po dito sa mga programang kanilang inilalaan to help us address dito po sa mga violent extremism. Magandang gabi, sir.
Magandang gabi sa iyo, Princess and Alex, at sa mga nakikinig sa atin. Yung briefing kanina ni General Feliciano, very informative yon at nakita natin kung gaano kalawak ang problema, not only ng ating bansa, kundi yung buong region na, apektado na tayo lahat. So ang ating approach dito ngayon is not only whole of government but whole of nation approach. Even our neighbors, particularly Malaysia and Indonesia and Singapore, has already expressed their concern on the development here in our southern part of our country. And true enough, yung intention ng ISIS to establish a caliphate here in Southeast Asia, ang napili nila is intong Mindanao. Kasi this is here where we have an active extremist insurgency. Itong ang Abu Sayyaf and BIFF. And si Isniron Hapilon, siya ngayon ang parang franchise holder ng ISIS dito sa region. And he was able to to generate yung support or participation ng other terror groups sa area. So ang pag-take over niya sa Marawi actually is one of the requirements na hinihingi sa kanya na magkaroon siya ng territory or caliphate as what General Feliciano has mentioned. So, as part of our effort, the DILG is only one of the national agencies na involved sa countering extremism. And through our interior and local government portion. So, sa interior, we are utilizing our Philippine National Police, which is one of the agencies under the department, in tandem or in cooperation with the other security agencies, the Armed Forces, the National Bureau of Investigation, the Anti-Terrorism Council, which is very much in the forefront of countering radicalism. We are, actually, the Philippine National Police has special units directly in charge with countering extremism, the Salaang Police, and as mentioned, the Special Action Force. When I was the director of Special Action Force, part of our mandate actually is to engage in counterterrorism. And during that time, our attention is focused in southern Mindanao. And on the local government side, we can actually categorize the actions of the government into, number one, in law enforcement. The second is community empowerment and community participation through several mechanisms. And the third is the good governance and delivery of public service. This is where the department comes in encouraging or actually directing our local government units, the different local government units, particularly those directly affected with this problem, to deliver good governance and public service. Because if you notice, the areas where there are active recruitment of extremists is in areas where there are not much economic activity. And where are there existing poverty and other socio-economic problems. So this is one way of countering this expanding or phenomenon that we are encountering now.
Okay. And I'm sure ang ating po mga local governments, especially sa Mindanao, sir, no, are very cooperative naman po sa paglaban dito sa extremism.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Thank you so much po, Acting Secretary Huy, sa inyo pong nabanggit po. Kung kaya naman kunin po sa usapang nakaupo, ito po yung kasabihan, huwag na tayong magbakbakan po na nakatayo. Ganyan na katindi po ang pasensya ng ating pong Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process o OPAP sa ngalan po ng kapayapaan. Si Josita Tutanes Andot po ay ang ating pong Undersecretary for Peace Building and Development at Executive Director rin po siya ng OPAP. Miyembro si Yusek Andot ng kasalukuyan pong Government Implementing Panel for the GRP o GPH-MNLF Peace Process and the Government Panel for the GPH-MNLF Peace Process. Since 2001, iba't ibang pong posisyon ang nahawakan na po ni Yusek Andot sa nagdaang pong Peace Negotiating Panel ng Pilipinas sa loob po ng 2 dekada. Advocacy na po ni Yusek Andot ang peace building at gender and development. Kaya, kumustahin po natin ang ating pong Undersecretary ng OPAP, walang iba kundi si Josita Tutanes Andot. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Alex. Good evening, Princess. At magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Sa panig naman ng Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, tumutulong talaga tayo mula pa noon kung nasugpuin ang tinatawag nating violent extremism. Pero po, ang ating ginagawa actually follows 2 track. No? Yung tinatawag nating political track at development track. Ang atin pong sa ating political track ay pinapagpatuloy natin ang ating usapan para sa kapayapaan. No? Mayroon na tayong signed agreements with the Moro National Liberation Front and with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. At ang gusto nating gawin is ma-implement na ito sa talagang meaningful way. No? So ang ating ginagawa, patuloy yung ating implementation talks with them. At the same time, pinupursue natin yung ating peace building and development interventions. Now, many have connected violent extremism to insurgency. But we say that they are not one and the same, actually. No? Kung isipin natin, pwedeng ang violent extremism is caused by armed conflict. At the same time, it could also be a driver for armed conflict. So, what we are trying to do now is to really look at ways by which we are able to help our communities, together with government and the civil society for that matter, address the concerns that have been identified according to many studies already on the causes and triggers of violent extremism and insurgency. They're practically the same, more or less. Kaya nga lagi silang nalilink. No? What are these? Of course, yung tinatawag nating socio-economic grievances na mga marginalized natin. Yung historical injustice, always felt by the Bangsamoro, and this had been long recognized even by the President. No? He has been referring to that always. Meron din tayo nakikitang some degree pa ng mga discrimination and distrust na lagi nating ina-address nga sa pamamagitan ng pagkikipag-usap sa lahat ng sektor. meron din tayong nakikitang imbalanced regional economy, no, in Mindanao in particular. At of course, alam naman natin na itong violent extremism ngayon is fueled by this increasing Muslim devoutness, no, and radicalization na isang worldwide phenomenon na ngayon. So, ang papel talaga ng OPAP, okay? So, gaya lang nasabi ko sa inyo, 2 tracks ang sinusundan natin, pero there are also clear action points na ating ginagawa para ma-address ang violent extremism. Unang-una nito is yung ating People's Peace Tables. Ito yung mga formations ng mga kakaibang sektor na ini-engage natin para sa pagpatuloy ng ating peace process. No? Nagpa-participate sila, nagpo-provide ng inputs. Itong mga peace tables na ito, meron tayong para sa kababaihan, meron para sa kabataan or youth sector natin, meron din para sa ating mga religious leaders o mga ulama, kasama mga bishops natin. Meron din tayong para sa mga traditional leaders, yung mga sultans, no, yung ating mga datus, kasama po sila. At kasama din ang indigenous peoples, kasi isa din itong grupo na kailangan natin pakinggan. So yung peace tables na ito, regularly ini-engage natin, mini-meet natin, at ginagawa natin ang lahat para ang tingin nila sa sarili nila ay hindi lamang sila beneficiaries ng ating peace and development work, but they are also our partners, our co-implementers even, ng mga development programs and projects natin. Ano pa ba ang ginagawa natin? Conflict prevention mechanisms. Pinapa-strong natin pa yun, no? At ano ba yung mga conflict prevention measures natin? Ito yung pagbubuo ng community resiliency. What is community resiliency? Ang ating gustong gawin dyan is ang ating mga komunidad ay magiging matibay sana to resist provocations, to fight against peace stressors, to preserve their unity, okay? And to rebuild their own communities even, if really the effects of conflict will not be contained, no? For instance, no, looking forward beyond what is happening now in Marawi City, should be a lesson to all of us. This should be something that we should remember, that perhaps we should put more efforts now on making sure that our communities, especially the communities that are prone to conflict, will be able to resist the brewing conflict like this, no? And be able to also rally themselves up during these times of crisis. Okay, so ano pa ba yun? Pinapa-strengthen din natin yung ating mga various conflict prevention mechanisms, no? Yung mga Peace and Order Council natin. Ginagawa ho natin ang lahat ng paraan para naman sila makatulong sa ating ano. So, ang pwede ko pong masabi naman nito is yung healing and reconciliation natin. Kailangan ng marami pang dialogo. Kailangan interfaith, intercultural, intrafaith, no? Pag-uusap lagi. Lagi sana dapat ang ating peace conversations. So, maybe I should say in closing na yung ating nangyayari ngayon sa Marawi, violent extremism in general, cannot be resolved with, short-term, tactical responses only. We need a more comprehensive, sustainable, and inclusive. Yeah. Dapat sama-sama tayong lahat. At ito po ay nakasaad sa ating Mindanao Peace and Development Strategic Framework at yung Agenda for Peace and Development ng Duterte Administration. Sama-sama lang po natin lahat ito, gawin natin, and we can soon lick violent extremism and bring sustainable peace and development to our country.
Yun, well said, Yusek Andot. Tayo mga Pilipino lamang, huwag na tayong magbabangayan, huwag tayong mag-away-away, mag-usap tayo. Yun ang gusto pong iparating po ng ating pong OPAP. Thank you, ma'am. Dayan?
Nagiging malalim at makabuluhan po ang ating talakay ngayong gabi. Sumali po kayo sa ating diskusyon. Gamitin niyo po ang ating hashtag #DefendRepublic para po marinig namin ang inyong opinion at boses. Samantala kung tayo po dito sa Maynila, we want to defend the Republic. Sa Mindanao, they have the same sentiments. Panoorin po natin ito.
Siyempre, hindi maligol dahil de otro martial law, kaltabla sila tapi sa human rights doon gente, tamata, sali lang apuera, tira. Igual naman siyempre de otro, naman ko saya cambia. Kaso lang, mas, ya queda mas vigilante el gente del Zamboanga or mga Sambongenyo. por causa con este martial law. Kaya syempre, manadaya balita, kaya pwede entra aquí, pwede entra allá. So para kung in favor yo, kay mas el security aquí, mas yakeda bonito.
Hindi po kami effective sa martial law, tahimik naman sa solo.
Wala naman problema yung martial law kasi tahimik naman yung solo.
Ito Alex, itong susunod na video natin ipapakita, importante ito sa mga magulang na mapanood po ang video na ito. Masikin asi kung mga lokastano, mga pagaritan sa Marawi City, na kambunten aniran ka kuway sa miyak kalalaguna, lalo na kung may mga anak kayong nagbibinata pa lamang. Panoorin natin ang kwento ng dalawang Abu Sayyaf members na ito.
Love and peace. This is what Islam means. But ironically, many young Muslims are confused of this idea. This is because of the extreme ideology that Abu Sayyaf instills in their minds.
Nagkaroon kami ng major encounter against the original leader, si Abdul Rajak Abu Bakar Jandanani. Noong una, may nakikita tayong daladalang ideolohiya. But bandang huli, hindi na namin nakikita. This is, I think, the 4th generation. Itong mga kalaban namin ng mga Abu Sayyaf. Wala na kami nakikitang ideology dahil they resorted to kidnapping, kidnap ransom. So this is more on the economic side. So yung ginagawa natin po as part of our operations other than war is to be proactive. In-insulate po natin yung mga kabataan, coming up with a very responsive program tulad ng pagkandak ng Islamic Symposium. Yung tamang turo ng Islam.
Musa Al-Sid is a former member of Abu Sayyaf. He shared his horrible experience with the Abu Sayyaf when he joined the group at the age of 19.
Ilang mga kidnapping na yun naging involved siya? Anong mga nationality?
Malaysian.
Tapos natubos din yun?
Natubos naman lahat, sir. Yung tatlo, sir, 50 million na lahat.
When Musa assessed his situation, he perceived and realized his mistakes. They all took the risk, but it was the leaders who earned the bigger chunk of ransom money. But quitting is not an option for them because the group's penalty is death.
Dapat na hindi sila maniniwala sa jihad kasi ang jihad daw mahirap. Tapos pati yung pamilya nila takot sa sundalo.
Like Musa, 20-year-old Muhammad Wadang Uding was also a recruit. He lost his older brother in one encounter with the West Mindanao Command. That made him change his mind. They were lucky to survive because their leader died.
Nung namatay si Al-Habsi, sir, wala na silang leader kaya sumuko na sila. Ang duty, konti lang yung naibibigay sa kanila.
Uding warns the youth to avoid this extremist group.
Ang masasabi ko lang, hindi kayo makakalabas sa liwanag kapag pumasok kayo.
Like many other responsible leaders, General Sobihano is alerted by the emergence of the extremist groups. He happens to experience fighting with them in Syria.
Itong ISIS, iba yung pakay niya is parang nakikita ko, they wanted to dominate the world through terrorism. So talagang ang dating nila is very extreme. Itong pagdeklara ng martial law, I think nakakatulong ng husto sa ating ginagawa. Yung armed forces will take the lead role. But hindi naman natin isa sa puwera dito yung local government unit. Ang basihan ngayon is the 1987 Constitution. Nasuspend man yung writ of habeas corpus, but warrantless arrest namin kung sakali mang may na-arresto kami po halimbawa, within 3 days we have to file charges against them. Now kung hindi namin magawa yun, we should release the individual suspect. The President wanted to put an immediate conclusion to this problem.
Let us defend the Republic.
Ayun po, natunghayan ho natin yung dalawa hong naging miyembro ho ng Abu Sayyaf. Pero napagtanto ho nila na dapat tamo ho yung kanilang ginawa, sumurrender. Dahil alam nila, it's either pwede ho silang mamatay o di kaya mahuli. Kaya tamang ginawa ninyo. Pero paano naman ho yung mga future Abu Sayyaf naman kung hindi ho maagapan? Ito panoorin ho natin.
With red gashes on both arms, Amy was as white as a sheet. But it was her mother who looked even paler. Both could not put into words what transpired. Both could not even begin to understand what happened.
Pagdating niya po dito siya, sir, in-stress po siya, medyo nanghihina. Assisted po siya, naglalakad siya pero kailangan po with assistance.
18 years old na babae, siya po ay biktima ng pangingidnap, no? At ang perpetrators po ay mga adyang-adyang. Ito yung mga grupo ng mga kabataan na lulong sa droga. The same group ang tinatap ng mga Abu Sayyaf group doon sa kanilang beheading activities sa mga kidnap victims nila.
If it doesn't make sense why anyone would demand 100,000 pesos ransom money from a poor family like Amy's, it is just as incomprehensible how some of the youth in Sulu could treat kidnapping and wounding others as child's play. But the youth of Ajang group does, and their crimes are but training grounds to become a full-blown kidnappers once they pass in Abu Sayyaf.
Wala siyang naalaala at saka wala naman daw siya na...
Meron bang pinainom sa kanya?
Mayroon daw ng gabi nun. Pinakain siya pero hindi siya kumain. Uminom na lang siya ng tubig.
Bakit siya nagkaroon ng mga sugat sa kamay?
Itong sugat niya, yung hindi din niya naramdaman.
Ay, hindi niya alam na may nasugatan siya.
Nasugatan siya.
Yung nakita kong injury sa kamay, sir, para po siya mga hesitation marks, sir. Yung mga mataling, parang blade po, na parang ginulit-ulit sa mga braso, sir, sa magkalo ng braso. Aside from that, wala na po.
If they claim to join Abu Sayyaf because of their religious beliefs, where then is the religion in what Ajang does?
Wala kang makikitang relihiyon. In fact, itong pamumugot, wala naman to sa Quran, nor wala din sa Biblia.
Before leaving the hospital, we can't help but cast one last glance at Amy. She might have kept her head, but her dreams have been cut off and now lay lifeless on the ground.
Mag-aaral ba siya o pahinga muna?
Plano po, sir, hindi muna. Pahinga siya kasi natatakot na rin kami na.
Hinto muna siya sa pag-aaral.
Hinto muna siya kasi yan
Mamaya po marami pa tayong pag-uusapan, dyan lang po kayo.
Bunsod ng sunod-sunod na pag-atake at karahasan na nararanasan ng ating mga kababayan sa Mindanao sa kamay ng mga local terrorist at extremist, nagdeklara si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ng martial law sa buong Mindanao. Kabilang ang Basilan, Sulu at Tawi-Tawi noong May 23 habang siya ay nasa Russia para sa isang opisyal na pagbisita doon. Agad din niyang pinutol ang kanyang biyahe sa Russia upang alamin ang sitwasyon sa Mindanao.
That as of 10 p.m. Manila time, he has already declared martial law for the entire island of Mindanao.
Matapos magdeklara ng martial law, kinakailangan sa loob ng 48 oras ay magsumite ang Pangulo ng ulat sa Kongreso, personal man o nakasulat. Nakasaad sa ating saligang batas na epektibo ang martial law o ang suspensyon ng writ of habeas corpus sa loob ng 60 araw lamang. Nasa Kongreso na ang desisyon kung ito ay palalawigin pa. Maaaring ipawalang bisa ng Kongreso o bawiin ang batas militar sa pamamagitan ng boto ng mayorya ng mga miyembro. Pwede ring questionin ng Korte Suprema ang deklarasyon ng martial law at dapat itong desisyonan ng mataas na hukuman sa loob lamang ng 30 araw. Ang pagdedeklara ni Pangulong Duterte ng martial law sa Mindanao ay upang protektahan ang mga residente roon na walang awang pinapaslang ng mga local terrorist. Ang proklamasyon ng batas militar sa Mindanao ay upang maibsan din ang pangamba ng mga Pilipino na ang gulo sa Mindanao ay lumaganap na sa buong bansa.
Balitang mapagkakatiwalaan. Todo arangkada hanggang Sabado ng gabi. Kasama si Rocky Ignacio. Ralph Obina at Joseph Parafina. Sabado ng gabi sa inyong People's Television.
And now, we're back. Alam mo Alex, nakakalungkot itong makita ang ating mga kababayan na nakakaranas sila ng mga ganitong karahasan. Ngunit, dapat ba sisihin na lang natin ang mga kabataang ito dahil sumasali sila sa gulo? Alamin natin ng isa pang miyembro ng kabataan kung ano ang nagtutulak sa kanilang kabataan na maging marahas. Narito si Dato Amir Wagas, isang senior college student ng Ateneo de Manila University. Representative siya ng Salam Ateneo, isang national movement ng mga kabataang estudyante sa Ateneo. Nais ng grupo na ipaunawa sa taong bayan ang prinsipyong kinapapaloob ng Islam. Naging intern din si Dato Amir sa National Commission on Muslim Filipinos under the Office of Commissioner Yusuf Morales. Dato Amir, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikum assalam. Astaghfirullah. First and foremost, I'd like to make a proper disclaimer. I am not a security expert like the brilliant panel right here, nor am I a trained theologian or scholar in Islam. I am merely speaking sa capacity ng isang estudyante and from the perspective of a member of the youth sector of the Muslim community. What I like to present is how we see the radicalization process. Basically, we see that the radicalization process has 3 steps. First and foremost, regional instability. Second, individual or social deficiency. And third, it is the presence of extremist ideologies. Radicalization begins with regional instability in the form of socio-political or economic problems, meaning there is the presence of social injustice, social inequality, economic problems such as poverty, unequal distribution of wealth, and the like. Nagkakaroon ng kahirapan at gulo sa isang community. And this instability will cause deficiency in 2 forms, desperation and social anger. Desperation kasi the people who are struck with instability will do everything to make sure that they and their loved ones will survive. At nagkakaroon rin tayo ng mga poverty-driven crimes. This is the reason why. And another product of that deficiency is the social anger, because people are trying to look for people to antagonize or to blame for the instability happening in the region. Now, Dr. Kamar of UP Institute of Islamic Studies said that the ones who really feel this psycho-emotional imbalance, yung frustration, the social anger, and the desperation are the young people. Bakit? Because it is during the formative phases of the youth wherein they are still developing their sense of identity, their belief system, and they are more sensitive to environmental changes, and they yearn for a sense of belonging. Dahil sa phase na to, binubuo pa lang nila ang kanilang pananaw sa mundo, and they're trying to figure out kung saan sila pupwesto sa mundo. Dr. Kamar mentions that without proper guidance, and because of the exposure to dangerous influences or dangerous people, nagiging prone ang ating mga young people to violent radicalization. Dito po pumapasok ang mapagsamantala na mga extremist or mga radical ideologues. Ang ginagawa po nila is they take advantage of the social anger and the desperation and the frustration of the community so that they can recruit people to support and to power their hate-driven ideology and to forward their political agenda, which is political domination. Now, this is what we see happening in a global phenomenon. Now, to understand Muslim extremists, especially in Mindanao, we need to understand the difference between mainstream Islamic scholars or mainstream Sunni Muslims and those adherents to the ideology of hate, ideology of extremism, which our scholars call the takfiri ideology, the extremist ideologies, or the jihadist ideology. In short, they are the radical Islamist groups. Mainstream Sunni Islam is one followed by 90% of Muslims. It teaches respect for the differences of opinion and thinking, among Muslims and respect for non-Muslims. It treasures diversity. It protects minorities. It has an intellectual and theological tradition, meaning critical thinking is important in religion, meaning the role of wisdom and reason is very significant and primary in religion. That is the perspective of mainstream Islam. It also puts a big emphasis on the role of moderation and spirituality and protects the universal sanctity of humanity, meaning life is sacred, mapa-Muslim man o mapa-Kristyano. This is the Islam that teaches tolerance and peace. This is the Islam that has been here for 1,400 years and counting. Now, the extreme ideology pushed by the likes of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, wannabe ISIS groups like Maute and the rest are modern innovations. Again, they are coming from the violent world events that are centered in the Middle East, and they are resulted from Muslims who deviated from the teachings of mainstream Islam and who cannot contain their social anger and frustrations, that they resorted to acts of criminality, of brutality, and they are looking for ways para ma-justify ang kanilang extremism. Kaya, humiwalay sila sa mainstream Islam. They misinterpret religion or they misinterpret the teachings of Islam para bumuo sila ng ideology that will justify their violence. In their ideology, walang room for differences of opinion. No room for critical analysis. Walang role ang intellectualism sa approach sa sacred scripture. And it antagonizes everyone who does not follow them. Ito yung tinatawag natin takfiri. Ibig sabihin, if you do not follow us, you're a kafir. Labas ka sa Islam. And we are allowed to fight you. That's their ideology. And we see that happening with ISIS. We see that happening with Maute in Mindanao. Marawi is a Muslim city, yet they attacked Marawi and harmed Muslim civilians. This is the reason. And they have been condemned again and again by Muslim scholars. So it is wrong to say that the Maute or its similar groups represent the teachings of mainstream Muslims, because they do not. Just as the Ku Klux Klan, the Westboro Baptist Church, the Lord's Resistance Army, who, by the way, killed 100,000 innocents in Uganda, according to the UN, does not represent mainstream Christianity. This takfiri ideology was actually formed by radicals, again, who deviated from mainstream Islam and deviated from the rule of law. Now, how did they come to be in Mindanao? From our perspective, it was initially because of the presence of social injustice and social inequality in Mindanao, particularly centered, or directed rather, against the Bangsamoro people. It is from this narrative that the Bangsamoro struggle began. And this is not to say that the armed struggle was based on extremist ideologies. No, it was a socio-political struggle recognized by the international community and by the President Duterte himself. And we, from the Muslim community, commend the President for that. However, some members of these groups, having been deficient in themselves, hindi makontain ang anger nila, looked for ways para to skip the peace process because they are disappointed in the length of the peace process. They looked for an ideology that can justify aggression and violence against those they antagonize. Yun nga, di ba, social anger kanina. So they took the takfiri ideology, they antagonized the regime, the government, all the non-Muslims, and those Muslims who do not follow their particular interpretation of Islam, and they pursued a path of destruction and extremism which is against the principles of mainstream Islam and against the essence of the Bangsamoro struggle.
Okay, thank you so much kay Dato Amir Wagas. Importante talaga ho, mga kababayan, ang pagkakaisa ho talaga ho ng kabataan ang magsisilbi ho lakas ho ng ating pumbayan. Kaya tayo naman ho mga nakatatanda, makinig ho tayo sa kanila paminsan-minsan. Huwag ho tayong magtetengang kawali sa kanila. So, ang susunod na nating speaker, walang iba kundi si Ryan Oliver. Siya po'y Pangulo at ang National Convener ho ng National Youth Congress of the Philippines. Simula po siya taong 2014 hanggang po sa kasulukuyan. Siya po'y nagtapos po bilang cum laude sa kursong Bachelor in Business Teacher Education. Noong 2015, siya po ay ginawaran ng mga parangal bilang Academic Excellence, President's Lister po siya, Best in Educational Research, Best Pre-Service Teacher, Leadership Excellence, Outstanding Youth Volunteer for Yolanda Victims, at Special Citation po for Active Contribution to School. Siya po ay kasulukuyang Project Officer 2 sa Office of the Deputy Director General for Communities and Local Government Unit Services ng TESDA. Ay, magandang gabi, Ryan Oliver. Good evening sa iyo.
Magandang gabi po, Sir Alex and Ma'am Princess. Assalamualaikum. In this forum, I will share with you the experiences and philosophies on how the youth can help the government counter violent extremism by peace, youth, and nation building. First, we should believe in the power of unity in diversity among youth. The National Youth Congress, having more than 200 leaders in the Philippines, a mix of Christians and Muslims, was able to prove that dynamism and multiculturalism are weaknesses rather than are strengths rather than weaknesses. We believe in shared values, common goals, that is to unite everyone and succeed in our undertakings, and we respect our differences on beliefs, religions, and cultural backgrounds. We believe that everyone is unique, but we also look into our commonalities which bind us together rather than focus on our differences that might divide us. Today, pressing issues and concerns affect our daily lives on political, socio-cultural, environmental, especially on national security and economic aspect. However, most of us blame the government for it because our line of thinking is always anchored on what the government should do for us. We should do exactly the opposite. Hence, we should think on how we can help support the programs of the government. For instance, helping the government explain the current situation and peace effort being done in conflict-affected areas can be best achieved through peace forum like this one, rather than posting in social media. We should also be advocates of positive volunteerism. We should volunteer for a cause. We should spend our time and effort in going to places to help alleviate poverty and help the poor. Like 6 months after the Typhoon Yolanda, we brought 109 selfless volunteers to Tanawan Leyte. We helped build houses there, we taught the young and the children, and we did cleanup drive. We call it positive volunteerism because we are able to deeply instill in the hearts and minds of our volunteers Filipino values such as the love for our countrymen, the value of labor, humanity, respect, and patriotism. Last but not least is about youth stewardship. Stewardship is about doing the right thing. We should go beyond political, socio-cultural, economic, or cultural contexts. For example, environmental stewardship in the West Philippine Sea, where we can promote protection and preservation of our marine resources rather than focus on the political and economic disputes. Through these activities, we promote a culture of harmony rather than a culture of hate, a culture of peace rather than a culture of violence, and a culture of respect rather than a culture of differences. Diverting the energy of the youth and the vulnerable groups to these nation-building activities will definitely block the possibility of them being recruited by extremist groups, and extremist ideologies will not be propagated by them. So we are calling on all the youth out there, even the national government agencies concerned, and the LGUs, to do something about it, to support the government, every day, not just in time of crisis, to promote a culture of peace, a culture of harmony, and a culture of respect. Because we believe that winning the hearts and minds of our people is the most effective counter against violence, extremism. Thank you.
Maraming salamat sa
Thank you, Ryan. Yung sinasabi nga, Princess, yung youth empowerment, kailangan yon.
At sa ngayon kasi mas marami talaga yung mga involved talaga na mga youth either in social media or even out there no in public.
Yun. Ayan.
Hindi lang po kami dito sa studio ang kasali po sa ating talakayan. Iparating niyo po ang inyong opinion o komento online. Gamitin lang po ang hashtag #DefendRepublic. Hindi po maikakaila na ang boses ng kabataan ay tunay na lakas ng ating bayan. But how do we refine their tune to create a harmonious society? Let us listen to a point of view from a Pakistani Muslim educator.
In Islam, jihad is not just go out and kill people. What some of the groups, ISIS and many of these groups doing in killing on the name of Islam, there's nowhere according to the teaching of Islam. They're just doing things under the name of Islam. Even the ayat or the verses, the Quran that they are quoting, are completely out of context. Yes, there could be some people who be given wrong teachings and things like that in very, very poor countries. But in generally, there are probably nearly 2 billion Muslims in the world. And if you go to the majority of them, you will not find anyone supporting them. From the Muslim perspective, I'll say that we need to change our behavior. We need to come out of that just in Muslim environment, and we need to get integrated into the local communities that we live, interact with the non-Muslims more. Where possible, Muslims should reach out to media, use the social media in today's world, which have a big impact. One other thing that we are promoting here is for Muslims to take part in community work or visiting hospitals. Don't have to be Muslim. And some of these things that we're doing and trying to promote Islam within the communities which are not Muslim, how to tackle the real extremist, I think we need to educate our youth. What is the true teaching of Islam, especially in the countries where they live and there's no real education available. We need to properly educate them.
Samantala, buhay at dugo ang inialay po ng Red Cross para ho sa kaligtasan ng lahat. Sa lalawigan ho ng Sulu, nais silang pigilan ang mga pagdana po ng dugo ng mga napupugutan. Isa na rito po ang kwento ng isa pong volunteer na si Preciosa Chong. Panurin natin.
Sulu is blessed with one of the most breathtaking islets in the Philippines. From afar, it looks nothing short of a green paradise. But up close, the land is marred with the blood of those killed and wounded in the brewing chaos. In 2000, the Sidapan crisis exploded. The kidnapping for ransom activities of the Abu Sayyaf also blew out of proportion. Red Cross was one of the organizations who first extended the much-needed help amidst this crisis. As a Red Cross volunteer, Precious sacrificed her own blood and life for the citizens of Sulu. This is in stark contrast to the blood wasted by the terrorists in beheading their victims.
Ako po si Preciosa Suarez Chong, and they call me Ma'am Pinky dito sa Sulu. I'm the Philippine Red Cross Chapter Administrator, and I'm been with the Red Cross for 17 years, and I've been a resident of Sulu for more than 30 years na. Pero kami sa Red Cross, hindi kami nahihirapan pumunta sa kabundukan, na kahit pa sabihin nila na merong mga Abu Sayyaf, hindi yung problema sa Red Cross. Nakakapasok kami para magbigay ng aming tulong. Pero nung habang tumatagal siya, nagiging miski ang Red Cross ay hindi na rin ginagalang.
The violent extremist activities gave birth to the child combatant in Sulu. This prompted Red Cross to implement programs for the youth.
So kahit pa sila bata, kahit sila elementary, kahit sila high school pa lang, or nasa college level, matututo na sila ng first aid, makakaligtas sila ng buhay. We are on the path of creating Sulu to be a tourist area. So we need more lifeguards, we need more lifesavers. So ang Red Cross ay makikisabay sa ganyang development. Being a member of the Red Cross, they will enjoy the activity. At the same time, they will learn. At the same time, they will help their families, they will help the community and themselves. Kaya nga ako'y sumasang-ayon sa ginagawa ng ating mga military para masugpo ang lawlessness sa Sulu.
Let us all join hands with Red Cross in protecting our republic.
Para walang nagpapanik lalo na sa mga nakakarating na mga balita sa mga kababayan natin sa abroad, alamin natin kung gaano kaayos ang implementasyon ng martial law sa Zamboanga. Narito.
On May 23, 2017, the country was shook because of the Marawi siege by the Maute group. These alarming widespread violent attacks compelled President Rodrigo Duterte to declare martial law in Mindanao. Providing full support behind the decisive action of the president are the citizens of Zamboanga.
The people of Zamboanga City here, they are very receptive of the declaration of martial law. They don't want the city again to be like the September 2013 incident.
The declaration has actually helped the residents of Zamboanga to be law-abiding citizens.
We set up itong mga checkpoints natin. We declared the Zamboanga City as a no ID, no entry policy city so that we can check the spillover of this incident in Marawi City.
Apart from the citizens of Mindanao, the declaration of martial law has left other Filipinos from other parts of the country with mixed reactions.
So it is very important for us in Zamboanga City to contain the spillover of this incident in Marawi City. Alam mo, perception kasi kung minsan yung nagpapagulo sa ating area, no? In Mindanao, if we think of particularly in Zamboanga City, ang mga tao rito is on the alert always because of the happenings dito sa mga neighboring provinces. Now, nasanay na sila na ang mga pangyayari ay laging mataas ang alert level.
However, there is a growing consensus that it is timely and proper to implement martial law in Mindanao.
Ang term pa ng mga taga-Zamboanga City is this like a bowl of fruit salad where we have all the kind of people here, the kind of all the tribes here in Zamboanga City. In the other parts of Mindanao, gusto rin nila ito kasi apektado rin lahat yung mga civilian. Wala naman ibang maapektuhan kapag may mga nangyayari na gulo rito sa Mindanao. No? It is the civilian who are the first victims. And of course, itong mga kababayan natin na nandito rin sa masisira yung kanilang mga kabuhayan at yung ekonomiya ng kanilang lugar.
We must defend the Republic.
Samantala, merong mahalagang papel po ang millennials to defend the Republic at yan po ay sa pangunguna ng Duterte Youth Organization. Ang ating pong next guest po ay walang iba kundi si Christopher Tofi Sumulong. Siya po ay college graduate ng Ateneo de Manila. Pareho pong may background dito sa political science and psychology. Siya po ay kasalukuyan pong Secretary General ng Duterte Youth Organization. Tofi, magandang gabi sa iyo. Paano ba natin ma-engage ang ating mga kabataan?
Good evening din po. Bali po, before anything else po, yeah. I just want to make everything clear na hindi po ako eksperto sa issue. I'm here to simply express our organization's concerns and opinions on the matter. So in this situation po, no, I see there are two problems being faced by the youth. First is that these extremist groups are using the youth as a recruitment pool for their soldiers. We have some, like yung sinabi nga sa video, pinakita na kanina sa video, parang hindi ka makapaniwala no, na these extremist groups are pulling in these children to carry out violent acts towards other Filipinos.
Go ahead, Tofi.
Tapos po, yung second problem natin is dito is that the violence, the mass violence being committed is causing a lot of trauma sa locals ng region. And ever since this gruesome incident began, no, several families have been displaced. Some had their loved ones taken away from them. Others had it worse. Their loved ones were killed by these extremists. This has taken a huge psychological toll on to our brothers and sisters in Mindanao. We in the Duterte Youth, in our organization, we believe that the way to address this issue is first to listen. Listen to the victims. Dahil sila naman po yung pinaka-naapektuhan sa nangyayari. Patas naman sabihin na sila ang pinaka-nakakaintindi sa kalagayan ng mga taga Mindanao. So first we have to listen, and next we also have to simultaneously do strategic planning on how to help our brothers and sisters in Mindanao. So these plans must be aligned in bringing back the serenity of the land and rebuilding the trust of the people to one another. The events that were caused by these extremist groups has robbed the Maranaos of their tranquility, of that tranquility. Tulad nga ng sinabi ni Ma'am Princess before, who is a Maranao, sabi niya, before this rebellion happened, Marawi used to be a beautiful and happy place, no? And they were robbed of that. So after this strategic planning, what we have to do is rehabilitation of the people. Once that the extremist forces have been neutralized by the armed forces of the Philippines, we have to rehabilitate the people. Rehabilitate them in a sense that we give them programs to restore their unity as a people. So these programs, dito pumapasok sa organization namin, yung mga recently thought about projects namin na sports programs, medical missions, leadership training seminars, social outreach, educational seminars. By conducting these programs, we are giving them the chance na mabalik yung tiwala nga ng kabataan sa kanilang kapwa at unti-unti din mababalik ang kapayapaan sa Marawi. So with that, now that we have established the peace, once we have established the peace, the next challenge is maintaining it. Of course, palaging ayun yung challenge after having peace, is maintaining it. Now we in the Duterte Youth, we pride ourselves as avid supporters po of the proposed mandatory ROTC program. No? Mainly because a lot of our members have experienced the benefits of these. Kasi karamihan po sa amin, either nag-ROTC, nag-CAT. So alam po namin ang benefits nito. We also see this in Asian countries, yung mga top countries natin like South Korea and Singapore. Napapakita po nila yung benefits ng ROTC program na to. Not only does the ROTC program strengthen the minds and bodies of our youth, no? Pinaiigting din nito ang disiplina at ang nasyonalismo ng isang mamamayan. So, to summarize everything po, to summarize how we should engage the youth in preventing violent extremism, first, we have to listen. Listen to the victims so that we will be able to identify the areas for improvement. Second, we have to give them these community-based programs to restore the unity of the people. Lastly, we have to train and prepare the youth. We have to train and prepare them to say no to extremism. And in our organization, we believe that the ROTC program will be able to help to do that. So that's it. Pero can I take this opportunity to call out the brave members of our youth? No, we would like to invite you to join the Duterte Youth. If you would like to join the future programs, you can like and follow our Facebook page, the Duterte Youth, at the Duterte Youth. We will be posting details there, no? Further details. Yan lang po, and thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much at well said, Tofi. Princess?
Maraming salamat, Tofi. No, ako, Alex, hanggang ngayon talaga, hindi ko pa rin talaga lubusang maisip at tanggapin yung feeling na yung lugar namin ay sinakop ng mga ganitong tao at nasasabi na there are extremists already in our place. And I wish talaga, I'm looking forward dun sa sinabi ni Tofi that in restoring our community, talagang tutulong sila. Sa aming pagbabalik, mayroon tayong kakausaping international expert on the problems of extremism.
President Rodrigo Duterte is in Russia for an official visit. He declared martial law in Mindanao on May 23. A series of attacks from terrorists and extremists occurred in the island. The areas of Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi are included in the declaration. To find out the situation in Mindanao, the president has cut short his visit in Russia.
That as of 10 p.m. Manila time, he has already declared martial law for the entire island of Mindanao.
After martial law has been declared, within 48 hours, the president needs to submit a report in Congress, either personal or written. It is stated in our Constitution that martial law and the suspension of writ of habeas corpus is effective only within 60 days. The extension is up to the Congress decision. Martial law can be negated by the majority of votes in Congress. The Supreme Court can also question and decide on the declaration of martial law within 30 days. President Duterte's declaration of martial law in Mindanao aims to protect the residents who are being ruthlessly killed by local terrorists. The proclamation of martial law in Mindanao also aims to eliminate the fear of the Filipinos that the chaos in Mindanao is spreading throughout the country.
Magpahanggang linggo, hindi nagpapahinga ang balita. Pasadahan ang mga isyong tinutukan ng sambayanan. Tutok na sa inyong pinagkakatiwalaan. Kasama sina Joseph Parafina, Dayan Querer, at Joy Gumatay. PTV News.
Ito pa rin po ang countering violent extremism. Education is one of the vital keys para talaga masugpo ang extremism. Tawagin ulit natin si Dato Amir. Dato Amir, paano nga ba paano ba natin mapaprevent itong mga kabataan usually na nare-recruit ng mga ganitong grupo?
First and foremost, as we are a Muslim community in Mindanao, we should always go back to the guidance of our religion as taught to us by Islam. And we are taught by our Islamic scholars that the root cause of all suffering in the world is ignorance. And the way to solve the problems of the world is through knowledge, but not just any kind of knowledge, knowledge that is succeeded with action. We determined that the best way to counter violent extremism is to educate the youth kung paano tanggalin ang root cause ng mga radical pati extreme ideologies para in the first place walang magre-recruit sa kanila. As mentioned earlier, may tatlo kaming binigay na sources of or steps in radicalization, regional instability, deficiency within the individual and society, pati the extreme and takfiri ideologies themselves. First, we need to educate the youth on how they can contribute to the national effort of fixing the socio-political and economic instability. We do that, but not only by promoting livelihood projects to promote the conditions of the people, but by educating our youth, especially the students, on removing social inequality and social injustice by promoting inclusive and democratic participation. Ibig sabihin nito na bigyan natin sila ng avenue, bigyan natin sila ng skills that they can enter yung national discourse sa paggagawa ng mga polisiya that will affect the economy, that will ultimately affect them. Lalo na kailangan natin ng participation and to support the participation of the marginalized sectors, especially coming from the Muslim Moro community, who are one of the poorest communities in the Philippines, unfortunately. So let us have them take part in shaping the policies affecting them and form consensus with their consent that will give them justice, promote their welfare, and that begins first and foremost by helping them become informed and critical citizens. Second, to fix the social anger and the frustrations experienced by the individual and by society, we need to give them proper holistic formation. Ibig sabihin nito, hindi lang natin sila tuturuan ng technical skills, i-hone and develop rin natin ang kanilang spiritual capacity, ang kanilang emotional ability to cope with problems. And part of this is that we bridge people together. We make people accept differences. We make people live together, and we make sure that the knowledge they get, especially students in the colleges and universities or in schools in general, that develop nilang skills na ito for the purpose of serving the community. My organization, Salam Movement, for example, counters radicalization in our own little capacity by teaching Muslims and non-Muslims interfaith dialogue. And we also have peace camps in Mindanao, wherein we teach people the importance of the peace process and how they can advocate for it, how they can take part in the discussions on the peace process, especially right now very crucial with the BTC Council. And we also do PVE, or Preventing Violent Extremism Awareness Programs, by having our students consult and join programs, especially conducted by experts institutions and government agencies. So it is a sectoral effort to prevent violent extremism. Hindi pwede isa lang. Kailangan the whole of the community is working together. Now, to counter the radical ideology, which is, I think, is the most important factor, because sabi nga ng isang Sunni scholar, si Sheikh Muhammad Al-Yaqubi, sabi niya, even if we defeat ISIS, even if we defeat Maute or Abu Sayyaf and all its mga similar groups, in our age, we will have another generation of brainwashed young people who will fight us tomorrow if we fail to destroy their ideology. And the only way we can do that is to promote the institutions and teachings of mainstream Islamic scholars and have our Security Council consult them in how to deal with extremism and how to prevent violent radicalization. Let us help our scholars return the vibrance of Islam that respects diversity, Islam that respects multiculturalism, Islam that unites Sunnis and Shias and Ibadis and all other forms of Muslims, Islam that unites the Muslims and the Christians and even the Lumads in Mindanao, Islam that protects humanity, mapa-Musliman o mapa-Kristiyano, and guides the entire community to progress.
Tugunan ho natin yung kamangmangan. Hindi naman totally na formal education. Siguro magsimula muna sa tahanan. Yung mga magulang, yung responsible parenthood. Kung yung mga magulang, may paki sa kanilang mga anak, dapat doon pa lang turuan na ninyo sa tahanan ninyo.
Pabor po ako doon, sir, sa ng Presidente, dahil yun siguro ang solusyon para ma-peaceful lang mga buong Mindanao.
Kahit na nagdeklara po ng martial law, wala naman pong wala naman pong kaguluhan na like same lang dati. Marami nga lang mga pagbabago, like mga checkpoint po. Peaceful din naman, wala namang mga gulo-gulo ganun.
Civil po naman lahat ng tao dito, sir. Kung sabihin mong martial law, alam na lahat na meron dyan, alam na may curfew. Pero sa ngayon naman po, wala naman po, sir. Para sa akin po, okay naman po kung may martial law. Kasi lahat ng po naman nasa mabuting kalagayan naman po eh.
Yung iba nanonood ng mga news. Una nakita nila sa news, nakita nila kasama na yung tawi-tawi. Medyo na-apektuhan naman. Pero kahit ganon, kahit nag-declare ng martial law, doon, normal din ang buhay namin doon sa tawi-tawi.
It's very peaceful. Walang, there is no changes. Maybe it's our leader here just doing the right thing. Appropriate for that Sabongueño in the Tausog, particularly. Ano lang.
para higit po nating maunawaan ang problema ho sa loob ng ating bansa. Hingan po natin ng pananaw mula sa isang international terrorist expert na kakausapin po ni Dayan Querer. Dayan?
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Alex. Ngayong gabi, makakasama po natin via Skype si Dr. Rohan Gunaratna. Isa po ay isang Singaporean analyst in security affairs. He is the head of the International Center for Political Violence and Terrorism Research, o ICPVTR, at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies in Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. Currently, he is a professor of security studies at the ICPVTR in S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies. Dr. Rohan also published 15 books. Ilan po sa mga ito ay ang Inside Al-Qaeda Global Network of Terror. Dr. Rohan is a trainer for national security agencies, law enforcement authorities, and military counterterrorism units. Interviewed terrorists and insurgents in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, Saudi Arabia, and other conflict zones. Hello, Dr. Rohan. Thank you for joining us tonight.
It's good to be with you.
Dr. Rohan, can you please enlighten us and explain to us the connections of ISIS in Southeast Asian region, and why is Mindanao being chosen as the next ISIS territory?
After Caliphate was declared in 2014, IS started to expand globally, that is beyond Iraq and Syria, into Africa, Asia, Middle East, and also to the Caucasus. Philippines was selected because they couldn't establish a province of the Caliphate in Indonesia. So in the Philippines, what happened is more than 15 groups pledged allegiance to IS. This included Isnilon Hepilon's group in Basilan, Savadjan's group in Sulu, Ansar Khilafah Philippines in the Suk Sarjan region led by Tokboy, and also the Maute group, which has now renamed itself the Islamic State Lanao, as well as the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters. And with all these groups embracing a foreign ideology, which is the ISIS ideology, we saw that ISIS was able to create a threat landscape in the south of the Philippines.
Dr. Rohan, can you also explain to us why Maute follows Wahhabism or the extremist Islam?
It is because the Maute brothers, Omar and Abdullah, they both studied in the Middle East, and they brought back to the Philippines this Middle Eastern type of ideology. What is most important is for Philippines to keep its local and traditional Islam, which is very beautiful Islam, which has existed for centuries, and not to be influenced by the Middle Eastern forms of Islam, because that really doesn't apply and is not going to resonate well with the people. You can see that when ISIS went to Marawi, the Marawi people were shocked by ISIS. They didn't follow ISIS. So I believe that ISIS is trying to force their ideology and their doctrines and their methods of operation in the Philippines. And there's a lot of resistance from the Filipino Muslims.
Dr. Rohan, currently now we are in a world of social media, which is used as a means of communication around the world. Do you think social media contributes in terrorism, and how?
Social media has been exploited by ISIS. ISIS has developed mastery of social media to communicate generation. I can tell you that the Abu Sayyaf group now is split and into the Basilan faction from the mainstream Abu Sayyaf group. But both Abu Sayyaf mainstream and the split faction, the youth are going online and looking at ISIS. So you can see that ISIS is deeply influencing these different militant groups as well as the youth population. So there must be efforts on the part of Filipino Muslims, such as the young man who spoke in your forum, to bring the Muslim youth together and to counter this wave of extremism, because extremism leads to terrorism. Terrorism is a vicious byproduct of ideological extremism, and it must be countered.
On that note, Dr. Rohan, how can the netizens counter these terrorist moves or motives on social media?
Like we have warriors in physical space, the armed forces of the Philippines, the Philippine National Police and other agencies that fight with the gun. You also need a group of young, highly committed, dedicated girls and boys who are going online and countering this extreme ideology. If Philippines is such a beautiful country of diverse peoples, and I think that that must be the central message. And they must constantly say that these are foreign ideologies to our land and we are not going to embrace it, that the most beautiful ideology is to be from the Philippines.
Thank you very much for your insights, Dr. Rohan. Thank you for joining us in our tonight's forum. Again, Dr. Rohan Gunaratna. Mga kababayan, maaari pa rin po kayong magpatid ng inyong komento at opinion online. Gamitin lang po ang ating hashtag, #DefendRepublic. If we could turn the troubled land into a paradise, Sulu is really one of the most promising tourism haven. Let's watch this. Ngayong gabi, may mga kasama po tayo dito sa studio na nais magtanong po sa ating mga panauhin. Unahin ko na po dito sa aking kanan, si Mr. Timothy Ihiran. Siya po our coordinator ng Kapandisal Youth in Zamboanga, Basilan, Sulu at Tawi-Tawi at National President ng IDB Graduates Association. Magandang gabi. Ano po ang inyong katanungan?
Yes, magandang gabi po. Before I pose my question to Datu Amir, I have thoughts to share perhaps to address or to counter violent extremism. So to simplify the complexity of the problem that we are now facing, I'd like to put it into a formula. And my formula is actually I have here. This is my formula to counter violent extremism. So it's CM plus CP equals HDI. That's committed Muslim plus competent professionals equals human development inspired by Islam. Because what we have in now is there's an imbalance. When you are a committed Muslim, you tend to ignore the secular or the academic education. Whereas on the other hand, when you are a competent professionals, you are tend to ignore the teachings of Islam. So this formula would apply or would it be ineffective? I'm saying this because I came from Sulu. I'm not from the place. So this is the formula that would address or help counter violent extremism. So kasi ho, baka ho malunod tayo sa dami ng problema na inaharap po natin. So I'd like to simplify this into a formula. My question to Datu Amir is, apart from those that you have already started with the programs of the youth in Mindanao, what are the actions to be taken for the youth to help counter violent extremism?
Okay, especially for the Muslim youth in Mindanao, first and foremost, they should organize themselves and they should push for programs that advocate the Islamic principle of khidmat, meaning service to humanity. If you have that love for God, which is related to the love for humanity, then your entire being, your entire Muslimhood, including your professional aspects, will also be directed towards the benefit of the community. Our Salam movement in Ateneo de Davao, which is partnered with Al-Qalam, has been doing a lot of programs that gears the individual studies of the students who joined the Salam movement in Ateneo de Davao, and gears them towards how to benefit the Mindanaoan community, and hopefully in the long run the whole Philippine community. And another good thing that Muslim groups who are organizing themselves can do is to adopt the teachings of the ijma, or the consensus of our Islamic scholars. I'll give you one. Back in around early 2000s, there was the Aman message, where more than 100 scholars from all over the Islamic world gathered in Jordan, in Amman in Jordan, and made a declaration that it is number one forbidden to make takfir with a fellow Muslim, meaning you cannot expel a fellow Muslim outside the boundaries of Islam. In the Aman message, all madhabs or all schools of thought are respected by all, should be respected by all Muslims and should be accepted. Even true Salafi thought is accepted and respected in Islam. Now, if youth organizations would adopt these messages from the leaders of our faith, then it would resonate in their activities.
Marami pong salamat sa inyo, Dato Amir at Timothy, sa iyong katanungan. Ang pangalawa pong magtatanong sa ating mga panauhin ay si Gafar Panotalan. Mula po siya sa National Commission on Muslim Filipinos.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Actually, I'm also from Lanao. Kaya kahit papano medyo nakaka-relate po tayo sa mga nangyayari po sa atin. But before I throw my question, siguro gusto ko na rin pong ipaabot sa kanila yung aming sentimento. Siguro narinig po natin yung ating from Dr. Rohan. Now, we are also in Lanao. Shock po kami sa mga nangyayari. And I would like to also to ask yung ating public na let us dwell on the positivity of what is happening right now. Now, my question is to Ma'am Andot po, Ma'am Yusek Andot. You have mentioned that the government is doing something to counter violent extremism on the national and the community level. How about yung sa ating international level po? Since terrorism is a global issue, what engagement are we doing para po ito ay ma-address yung engagement natin sa ating mga counterpart in the Asian region and also in the other part of the world? Thank you.
Ang Pilipinas ay signatory ng maraming international commitments and resolutions sa United Nations. At membro din tayo ng ASEAN. At ngayong taon na to, tayo ang chair. So, itong mga bodies na to, at many more, are actively really working for addressing issues of radicalization and violent extremism, including violence against certain groups that are happening during times of conflict. Under the ASEAN initiative natin, nagpapatawag tayo at dito nga sa atin si Secretary Koy kasama din natin at very active tayo sa preparations natin dahil nga marami na tayong gagawing mga summits na mangyayari ngayong taon na ito. Meron na ng iba na ginawa na natin. Meron tayong ina-anticipate na magiging isang Manila Declaration on countering violent extremism. Now, hopefully, our senior officials of the member countries of ASEAN will be signing when they meet sometime here in September or October. Okay. Other than that, nakikipagpulong tayo sa ating mga counterparts naman sa ibang members ng ASEAN. Membro po tayo ng ASEAN Institute on Peace and Reconciliation. At magkakaroon nga next week ng isang pagpupulong na naman sa Myanmar to tackle also issues related to violent extremism. So ang ibig po natin sabihin lang nito is habang ginagawa natin yung mga national na efforts natin, dahil nga issue na siya natin dito at we are facing already this right in our shores already itong nangyayaring violent extremism nga. Ginagawa ho natin ang paraan na magkakaroon tayo ng mas marami pang pakikipag-ugnayan. Okay? Meron tayong, of course, this is more in the province ng ating security sector, na meron tayong border cooperation, no, between the countries of Malaysia, Indonesia, no, opo, at Philippines, Brunei. Kasi po, kailangan nga nating protektahan din ating mga shores na dito pumapasok yung mga terorista na nag-infiltrate dito sa ating bansa. So, maybe my other colleagues could give more inputs regarding this.
Secretary Cui, may dadagdag po kayo.
Thank you, ma'am. On the law enforcement and security sector side, the Philippines, particularly the Philippine National Police, is a member of the Interpol, wherein there's a data sharing on activities and personalities of the individuals suspected to be involved in terrorism. So there are intelligence sharing among our neighbors, particularly the ASEAN neighbors, as well as other countries. Even the United States has been helping us in information gathering and more on the technology, help on the technology on intelligence and identification and movements of suspected terrorists, especially those coming from the Middle East. The other countries in our region, the ASEAN, as I said earlier, are concerned with regards to this report, and there are cooperation among us. And mentioned by Ma'am here, we have this, in the southern part of the country, we have a joint patrol, border patrol, in order to restrict the movements of the suspected terrorists.
Marami pong salamat sa ating mga panauhin at sa ating pong mga ilang miyembro ng ating audience. Balik muna sa inyo, Alex at Princess.
Okay, thank you, Dayan. At pasalamatan natin, Princess.
Yes.
Walang iba kundi si Ryan Oliver. Thank you so much, Ryan. Si Datu Amir Wagas. Thank you so much. Kay Yusek Jusita Andot ng OPAP. Thank you, ma'am. Kay Major General Melquiades Feliciano, sir. Thank you so much. Pakikumusta na lang po kay General Padilla. At DILG Acting Secretary Catalino Cuy. Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Okay. Sa munti ho nating kakayahan, pwede ho tayo ngayong magtanim ho ng binhi ng kapayapaan. Kaya tawagin natin si Christopher. Christopher, baka gusto mong samahan kami at meron kaya tang hiling sa atin.
Yes. At maghawak-hawak po tayo ng kamay.
Dayan, dito ka.
Come here.
Iha, dito ka. Dito ka sa... Hindi ko pwedeng hawakan si Alex.
Sabay-sabay po natin sabihin ito na palalakasin natin ang Filipino values para labanan ang kahit na anumang karahasan.
Palalakasin natin
ang Filipino values
para labanan ang anumang uri ng karahasan.
Yan po, salamat po.
And also preserve our Filipino and religious values to prevent any further acts of violence and extremism.
Inshallah, makakamit natin ang pangmatagalang kapayapaan. Inshallah. Inshallah.
Sa ating lahat, sa whole Filipino nation, let us join hands in countering violent extremism. Religion is not a hindrance to attain peace. Muslims and Christians should unite to counter the terrorism. So let us save the Republic.
Let us save the Republic. All right. Maraming salamat po sa pagsama po sa amin ngayon.
Commit to thwart terrorism. Crush criminality. Eradicate extremism. Commit to defend the Republic.
As we retake the beautiful city of Marawi from the clutches of the enemy, I call upon our troops to remain steadfast in performing their solemn duty to protect our people. I ask you to never waver in your commitment to defend the Republic from all threats, especially terrorism, criminality, and insurgency.